Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents Masters of the Universe Tuesday. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with the Masters of the Universe Masterverse, Masters of the Universe New Etheria Hordak from the Evil Horde. Let's get into it! Let's start things off with a look at the packaging. And here at the top we've got Mattel 6 and up, thing for the pig to go through. 30 points of articulation, I guess it's a whole. Masterverse across the top here with that nice 1980s nostalgic rock explosion. It ran into a planet or an asteroid or a moon or whatever. And then here on the front we've got a nice window here showcasing some of the figure and accessories. She-Ra 40th anniversary logo right here. So he's in... There's some bats and some bats back here. He looks like what is the Fright Zone, maybe is where he's at, or maybe just a creepy forest. But when I say the Fright Zone, I mean like the old school toy type Fright Zone, not the animated series one. Masters of the Universe New Etheria Hordak on the bottom. Small print, fine print, legalese print, Made in Vietnam print, MattelShop.com print, contents, one figure, accessories, question marks. Some more symbols I'm not going to learn. There's the assortment numbers right next to the barcode. And that number, whatever it is. And then I forgot to say that this artwork wraps around to this side. And see, that's more, that Fright Zone looking catch tree, I like to call it. But it could just be a creepy forest. And then on the side we've got some more nice artwork of Hordak being Evil Hordy. And it says the Evil Horde right there. And then on the back we've got some nice practical photography with artwork backgrounds. That looks nice to me. And then here we have some close-ups of different shots of the figure, which I think are practical photography as well. Here's some artwork of Hordak. Hordak, ruthless leader of the Evil Horde, the force behind the destruction that devastated New Eternia, leads his Evil Horde to New Etheria in his continuing quest to conquer the universe. Also available, each sold separately, subject to availability. Colors and decorations may vary. It's the cross sale. This figure, New Etheria Hordak, New Eternia Cobra Khan, and New Eternia Tila. Mattel, empowering generations through play. There you have it, my friends. A look at the packaging. Let's take a look at the figure and his accessories. And first up, let's take a look at his accessories. And here we have his shield, which is kind of sort of reminiscent of his original, with the symbolism of it, I guess. But it's actually more of a real shield this time around. Of course, Hordak's face on it, and it's kind of glossy, and then the rest of it's kind of matte, except for maybe these edge parts. Lots of nice little details inside on the actual shield part. Looks like maybe some darker red in there for the eyes and the inside of the mouth perhaps. But lots of nice little details throughout this piece. And then on the back, of course, we've got, the arm and hand holds. So there's that. I like that piece, I really do. So next up we have his staff, which has kind of a dragon's head on it, and this piece is removable. It does come off, so it's not glued. It is pegged right here in the back. But see, pig, port. So I guess this is a female dragon. So nice details, and I mean I think that's a cool thing to do. Maybe like this is a pet of his, I don't know. But I just think it's cool. But I think they probably did it just so they could reuse this post for other things as well. So there's that. And it does have some nice molded details here for the handle. And then down here it's kind of pointy. And let's get that back in position. So I just thought that was neat that this dragon piece was removable. Just to me it's cool. You might not give a crap. I don't know. Your mileage, of course, may vary. Now here we also have his gun arm attachment. So it's got some silver or, well, silvery gunmetal. It's not quite gunmetal. It's a little darker than silver. But it's got, you know, this is probably molded in that color. And then this is a paint app. This is a paint app. And we've got some red right here. We've got some more of that gunmetal-y silver right there. And then some more red right there. But nicely detailed all around. It does have a port in here. So if you have that Princess of Power Masterverse Hordak, his blast effect will most likely fit in this as well. And then the post in here for it is very similar to Terror Claws Skeletor, how his Terror Claws work on that figure. So you just pop the hand off and then you pop this on and it goes like up his forearm to about there or so. And we might look at that in just a minute. But let's look at Hordak himself. And at first I thought, well, they probably reused some of that other Hordak. And there probably are some reuse on it, but the parts I thought they would reuse, they did not. The head looks to be all new. This whole piece, as it is attached to the armor, is new. The other one was attached to the head. And I really like it. Nicely detailed. Even here in the back, it's kind of got the bat wing thing going on like the original figure had under his cape. It's kind of got some more of that darker gunmetal color here on his belt and his wrist gauntlets, which also have those bat logos on it. And then of course he's got the Evil Horde logo right there on his chest. The armor is very reminiscent of that original figure. In fact, I do wish they'd have made a change though. I wish they'd like these bone pieces around the edges. I wish they would have gone ahead and given those some white or maybe some like bone gray kind of stuff to it. But then, you know, it wouldn't quite match up with the original. But that's what the vintage collection's for. So, you know, we've got some nice color in here. It's probably molded in this color. And then, you know, like the arms and the legs may be reused. This armband piece right here may be reused from the other one. I don't know. I haven't gotten it out yet for comparisons. But it is a separate piece, so you can leave it on there or leave it off. But, you know, leaving it on there, it does get aggravating a little bit. So then down here for his boots, he's got those, you know, bat symbols on there painted in red. Nothing really going on the back side of the boots. And then he's got Hordak feet. And I don't know that we've seen these feet before, because I think the Princess of Power Multiverse or Masterverse were thicker than this, and they were a different design as well. So also he's got wings, and since we're going into articulation, we'll already talk about the articulation of the wings. So they're pinned in right here and they're hinged, you know, basically right here. They rotate all the way around, they move in and out, so pretty nice. And I'm not sure how I feel about him having wings instead of his cape, but I think that was supposed to be an original thing for the figure, is that he had wings, but it wasn't in the tooling budget, so they made it a cape instead. Just said, hey, kids will pretend. its wings. I never did, because I never knew he was supposed to have wings till I was an adult. So at his head, he looks up that far. He looks down that far. And he looks to have that standard dumbbell piece that all Masterverse seem to have. So he's got some chicken neck. He's got some waggle. He can do the full exorcist even with his armor piece here on the back of his head. At the shoulder, 360 degrees of rotation, and this armband came loose just like I told you it would. No butterflies yet. So he can raise his arm up approximately 90 degrees, and then a 360 degree rotation at the upper bicep. Double hinged pinless elbows. And I did have to heat these up, and I may have to heat them up again, because that one is not wanting to cooperate. This one is kind of cooperating. So anyway, I got that much bend out of it with it being stuck. I'll have to heat them up again. So I don't know if there's a cut here in where the chest and the torso meet. I would imagine that they do, because I get a little bit of hula going on there. And then, but because of the armor, you don't really get any use out of that. He doesn't really bend back or forward, side to side. Straight cut at the waist, 360 degrees of rotation there. Pull down hinge at the hip, and it comes down that far. And with that engaged, how much of the splits does he give us? Looks like the full splits. He will kick forward about 90 degrees, not quite, almost. And then back about one of his own footsteps. At the upper thigh, there's a cut, 360 degrees of rotation there. Double hinged, pinless knee. And it gives you that much bend. It would give a little more, except the boot top kind of in the back stops it. There's a boot cut as well, 360 degrees of rotation there. And then at the ankles, tilts down that far, tilts up that far, and then it has forward facing pin for rocker. And then as far as his accessories go, you know, you just put them in his hand except for the gun, and we'll go ahead and take a look at that piece. So the, you know, regular pin for the hand, the gauntlet piece is just an overlay piece that slides right on off. And as far as this one goes, you just kind of can't really eyeball it, so you do it by feel. And there it goes. Went right on in there. Pew, pew, zap, zap. Kill the Great Rebellion. Stop the Great Rebellion, rather. We need an imp for the Princes of Power subline. Although he was like the evil Orko. Well, there you have it, my friends. I'll look at the new Etheria, leader of the evil horde. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons. And here we have the Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, Masters of the Universe, new Etheria Hordak, with the Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, Princes of Power Hordak, and the Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, Masters of the Universe, new Etheria She-Ra. For our last set of comparisons, here we have the Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, Masters of the Universe, new Etheria Hordak, with from the Marvel Legends series making his cameo appearance, Stan the Man Lee, from G.I. Joe Classified series, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant Cobra Commander, from Star Wars The Black series, the Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper, and for a 7-inch scale comparison from the Masters of the Universe Masterverse line, the 40th Anniversary He-Man. for final thoughts on the Masters of the Universe, Masters of the Universe, New Etheria, Hordak, leader of the evil horde. I have to say, I really like this guy. I was originally gonna pass on it because I have the Masterverse Princes of Power Deluxe Hordak. And, you know, I was gonna pass on it and on this one because I had that one. But when I got to look into the pictures, I'm like, well, it's similar enough, but different enough. You know, it's similar enough that, you know, it's Hordak, but it's different enough that it's, you know, a different take, I guess, on the character that, you know, I kind of like. I wasn't sure at first I would like the fact that he had wings and they leaned kind of more heavily into the vampire look of the figure. Or of the character, rather. And this one looks, you know, the color difference and the stylization difference makes this Hordak a bit more menacing than the Princes of Power one. You know, he was kind of a in the cartoon, a bit of a comic relief villain, as well as, you know, the source of all evil on Etheria. But this one to me is a little more menacing, and it does lean more toward the original look of the figure. The look of the original figure, rather. And, you know, I really like this. I do like the fact that they've kept, you know, he can turn, I guess, change shapes because he can still turn his arm into a weapon, or perhaps that's just a device that he puts on. I don't know, but you know, to me, it tells me he still can change shapes a bit. Maybe not as much as Princes of Power Hordak, but from the cartoon. But, you know, I really like this. And again, you know, this one it skews more toward that original figure. And then they skewed it more toward the kind of vampiric look that I think he was originally supposed to have. Because I want to say originally Hordak was supposed to have wings instead of a cape, but the tooling wasn't in the budget. And I could just be making all that up. I don't know. But it seems like that's the way they wanted to go with it, perhaps, and then for whatever reasons it didn't work out. So I'm glad it worked out this time. And another thing, I like the fact that the dragon thing is removable from the staff, like it's a perch, and that's his pet, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe that's not really meant for us to pull it off, but so that they can reuse that staff and just put different things on it for other characters, which wouldn't surprise me. I mean, you know, in the toy game, reuse, that's the name of the game, so that you can get the tooling costs down, you can get more stuff out and make more profit. But again, I like this. I'm glad I decided not to pass on it. And, you know, I can't wait to see what they do with the other Horde members. And I know they'll probably do, like, well, Mantana is the next new Etheria Horde member coming out. And that's fine because they haven't done him yet in that Princes of Power subline. And, you know, but I want to see what they're going to do with those characters that they already have done in that subline. Because a more menacing Shadow Weaver, a more menacing Grizzlor, a more menacing Leech. I mean, that would be cool to me. Because, you know, they're like the evil horde. It's like the monsters Even though, you know, some of the Skeletor's dudes were supposed to be like the monsters too, but not the monsters. Don't confuse that. So, but anyway, that does it for the review. I've rambled long enough. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. If you are interested in supporting my channel further, I'm now offering memberships at various tiers. Click the join button on my YouTube page, or check this video's description for the link and see if any membership offers are right for you, but only if you are in a position to do so. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you would like to see more content or just help the channel grow, or both. That's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.